This is the Ranger Report Podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ranger Report Podcast. I am Ben Dieter. You can find me on Twitter at BDieter75.
I am CJ Berryman. You can find me at CJB_RR on the twit thing.
And you can find us at the Ranger Report on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and pretty much everywhere else in the world, therangerreport.com, patreon.com/the Ranger Report, everywhere you want to find it. And I'm going to let CJ introduce our guest for today.
This is my ex-coach. I don't even know what, not pitching coach. You were my coach from like 15 to 19. So, Rene Cano, welcome to the Ranger Report Podcast.
It is my honor to be on here with you guys, man. CJ, just working with you. Ben, it's nice to meet you, man. Just getting on and talking about Rangers. Who doesn't love the Rangers?
Well, and Ben's beard is legendary, isn't it?
It is, man. I'm telling you what, he should be a general manager somewhere.
I take it. Trust me, I take it. No, but speaking of the Rangers, I know you helped. You were one of CJ's pitching coaches. So the Rangers rotation, especially with picking up guys like DeGrom and Heaney, it's looking pretty good, isn't it?
Man, I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you, I haven't been this excited in a long time for that rotation. A lot of Rangers fans. My son and I went out to a game last year. And so, really a couple of picks last year, but seeing this rotation, I think CJ needs to be on that rotation because I'm telling you, if he does, we're guaranteed an NL championship.
He said that. Okay. So that's bringing up a story right here. I know what he's doing. Here. So we're on the bus back from Plainview and Coach Cano puts on, For Love of the Game, and he's like, that's CJ, but he's gonna be doing it for the Braves.
Yeah, and absolutely. I grew up TBN fan.
Yep.
Either, of course, everybody else. I was a Braves guy, and so I'm a big Maddox fan and Smoltz fan. And CJ boys, when CJ's curveball was on, it was on. Now I'll tell you, if he didn't leave it hanging and he threw it hard and got pissed off, he was a great pitcher. So I would tell him, boy, he can win an NL championship one day and be for the Braves. That was my dream because then he can get me in the box and I watch some free games.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So there was multiple games where I was sucking and he would come out to the mound and be like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Well, just unscrew yourself." Essentially, I mean, that's not exactly what he said, but he's like, "Yeah, just be you. Just be you."
So, Ben, let me ask you, why does it take some people in this world to get pissed off before they can perform?
I'm telling you, there are people like that. Yeah, there are definitely people like that. And I'm sure as a coach, as a former coach, you've seen a lot of that where like they're just sort of cruising along, not doing real good. Then you get them mad and boy, they just turn on and start throwing fire.
Oh, and Coach Cano, I promise you, man, he knew how to switch. He knew how to switch me. And we went to roll.
Yeah. You talk about getting in the zone, in baseball. CJ could get in the zone. Now, here's the thing. He was a little playboy on the mound, but if you got him pissed off enough and he got in the zone, the guy was in the zone. And one thing about CJ, he was a competitor, right? You just had to get him there. So, CJ, why did it take so much to get you there, brother?
I don't know, Coach. Well, and let's talk about Pampa.
Okay.
And the Baltimore Orioles were there to scout a pitcher.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it wasn't me. And I got pissed.
Yeah, and Ben, I remember telling CJ because he was going to be on the mound. I'm like, "Hey, bud, they're coming in and they're not here to see you. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about that, man? You're Plan B."
Yeah, I was on the warm up mound, and I was humming it. And the more Coach Cano told me about that, the more pissed off I got.
Yeah.
And so guess what happened that day? I'm going to let Coach Cano take control here because he was the one calling the pitches that day.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Ben, that was probably one of the best days ever because, you had all these people back in the stands and scouts watching. And I will tell you, man, CJ got in the zone that day. I mean, I'll tell you what, he was on fire. His curveball, man, was on fire in that outside location. And I'm telling you, it was unbelievable. I mean, I'm telling you, that was probably CJ's best pitching performance I've ever seen, really, ever. Yeah.
Well, I struck out 13 that day.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But I mean, think about it. Why was that, man? Because you had a challenge in front of you. That's why.
Yeah, I think that's what happened is that I got pissed off because it's like, okay, somebody's better than you. And I'm like, no, they're not. Max Simon was the guy pitching for Pampa. And I was like, no, he's not better than I am. It was in Lance Lannert, sorry, was, the head, I guess you could say, media guy. And he's like, it's a showdown between Max Simon and CJ Berryman. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think
one thing. Go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, and I think that's why in overall sports that you see underdogs use that to their advantage. When you're shot down. I know this year the Rangers, I've seen already projections to have them coming in fourth in the AL West. And I think they're going to use that as fodder to try to and motivate these guys to do better.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that with locker room, chatter and bulletin board material. I think that's.
Oh God, we had a lot of that. We've had a lot of that.
Tom Brady used that for most of his career in the NFL. Tom Brady used that for almost his whole career.
Yeah, you're telling me, but one thing about it is that, you think about pitchers in the big leagues and think about CJ. That day, CJ wasn't afraid to come out and throw a curveball in the first pitch, right? Sometimes you have to take some risks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna interrupt you right now because you realized when Coach Perez came and told me, yeah, the Orioles are here, but not to see you. And I got pissed.
Yeah.
And you were like, what we're gonna do? We're gonna open with the curveball, get you comfortable. And it's so nice to have, because he was my coach from freshman year to senior year, and he became my pitching coach senior year. So there's a comfort level there.
Yeah,
because we've cussed each other out a lot. Did we not, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely, right. But it's a competitive sport, know, and I'm hoping, Ben, that we see that with the Rangers. I'm hoping we see that they get in one of their faces and get competitive on the mound because we need to have that this year.
Well, the thing that excites me is the most successful they've ever been is when Mike Maddox was their pitching coach, and he's back again.
And now he's back.
And we know that Mike Maddox knows how to get guys going, and now he's got a real rotation to get going. I mean, he did it with guys no one had ever heard of back in 2010 and 11. Now he's doing it with, a pretty stacked rotation.
Right. And I know the big question right now is health factor, right?
Yep.
You've got a lot of guys who are more veterans. But here's the thing, I'm going to give it to the Rangers. They're taking a chance of doing something different, right?
Yep.
I mean, we have to do something different, and I believe that this is going to be a good year.
I believe you're exactly right because they've ponied up. They've got pitchers. They ponied up on pitchers, and last year they ponied up on position players. They got Corey Seager. They got Marcus Semien. The only thing they're missing is a left fielder, which I think is going to be filled within the organization.
Yeah.
So, but right now it's an exciting time to be a Rangers fan.
Yeah, it's been tough for us because you think about it, in the last 10 years around only had about 3 seasons over 80 wins.
Yeah.
But a lot of that, when you look at it, we've not done a good job of drafting good pitchers that become NLB stars. That's been a struggle for the Rangers.
Well, they've got a lot. They've got a lot. I mean, their farm system is stocked, and that's one thing that me and Ben have done is really analyzed and gone through the farm system and gotten a lot of those guys on. Zach Kent's one of them.
Okay.
Well, they haven't. He's right. They haven't, but they do now. They've finally started actually rebuilding that farm system. And it is, I mean, the thing is, though, a lot of these guys still have to show whether they can do it in the major leagues or not. And we really hope that they can. But, we have a good backup system right now if injuries start happening.
Right. I just know for years now, you just haven't seen it transition because we've been watching it to the major leagues like some of the other teams.
Yeah, you look at teams like Tampa, and they seem to have like a stud pitcher come out of their organization like every year, and the Rangers have not had that in year. I mean, the last one really is probably like Derek Holland and that whole class, Scott Feldman, that group of guys that went to the World Series that they actually developed and threw out there. The rest of the time it's been Yu Darvish and Cole Hamels have been the one to carry the load, and those have not been homegrown guys.
So Ben, I mean, what's the secret, and why are these other teams so successful with that?
It's organizational. In my opinion, is the organizational philosophy, like what they're trying to do. I think John Daniels, as much as I liked John Daniels, I wasn't mostly a hate John Daniels guy. He had moments where I couldn't stand him, but I think he just.
No, I didn't like him.
I know you did, and
I wrote about it.
Yeah, you did.
There's a huge article, and I was dead on.
Yep. I think he waited too long to try to do that, building from the ground up, watching other teams. And I think that's what finally got him let go, is even though they're on the right track now, it took him 10 years to get them on the right track. And I don't think that's acceptable.
Yep. So CJ, how are we going to get these pitchers fired up, man? What's going to be their calling card? How do we get fired up like you did on the mound, throwing first pitch, curveballs?
That's a great question. Well, we got Jacob deGrom, man.
Yeah, we got to fire him up. Go yell at him or something, CJ. Before
just go yell at him and let him throw 100 miles an hour. Thor. Just let him go out there and smoke it.
Yeah.
Ben, how much say-so do you have the Rangers? We can call CJ that they'll hire him as the yeller. He's the mascot, and he just go yells in their ear. Do you have any say-so with the Rangers?
Each starting day, I'll have CJ just come down there and just like scream at whoever's starting that day and tell him that, he's not good enough, and do the whole, what was that Saturday Night Live skit? He's not good enough. He's not smart enough. Doggone it. Nobody likes him. And see if he can get out there and throw some heat, man. Throw some heat on the mound.
Okay, so I guess this is with the point where me and Coach Canito, who's what I call him, tell some war stories. So there was many times where he'd come out there and just be like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
I've said that to you a couple times too.
Well, and I'd also cuss at you, just like I cuss at Coach Canito.
Yep, that's true.
But no, I mean there was games. Do you remember? Let's see. Calling me up to Tascosa would be my sophomore year. I was.
You'd have to remind me.
I was 16 and playing against Tascosa and Amarillo. And
I vaguely remember that.
You called me up and I smoked it. But I got homered against. That was the first homer I've ever given up in my life. And Anthony Ramirez comes off shortstop and he covers his mouth. And he's like, "I told you you'd get homered off of."
Now, Ben, CJ was not the fastest guy on the diamond, but that probably surprises you, But
yeah, I figured he was a speed demon.
No, he never unhits the trailer, but we definitely didn't pinch run him very much at all.
Well, I was also our cleanup hitter. So So against that Pampa game, I was the cleanup hitter, and I went 0 for 1, I think, with 3 walks. And every time I got to first base, Coach Canito was like, "All right, high five. Now get the hell off the field."
I'll just let you know, CJ, if it makes you feel better, I was also a cleanup hitter. Whether we were up by 10 or down by 10, I'd come in to clean up the rest of the game. That was the kind of cleanup hitter I was. That's when I got off the bench. It was when we were up by 10 or down by 10. So,
but I bet, Ben, you might have beaten CJ in a race back in high school.
I might have.
Bullshit.
I was pretty fast.
No. I'd have gotten him.
I always tell my students, I'm a teacher for a living, by the way. I always tell my students I ran a 4.40, 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
Now, Ben, I have to ask you, could you tell, knowing CJ, that he was a competitor on the mound? Be honest.
Yes, because CJ is competitive in everything. Like, I've known CJ since 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. And he's been competitive with everything I've heard him do and seen him do in the last 10 years or so.
Now, let me ask you, could you also tell he is hard-headed on the mound?
That doesn't surprise me one bit. No, that would not shock me to know at all.
That's what caused some controversy on the mound between me and Coach Canito, because he'd come out there and I'd cuss him out. I'd be like, "No, we're doing this," and he's like, "No, we're doing this." I'm like, "No, we're fucking doing this," and. Yeah, so he never cussed at me, but I cussed at him.
But I'll tell you this much about CJ too. If you try pulling him out of a game and not letting him finish,
that was not a good thing.
That was not a good thing.
It was a terrible thing. And going 7 innings, I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, real hard in high school. They hardly let kids do it nowadays.
But I did it. Every single time I hit the mound, they never pulled me out.
Ben, he'd come off the mound and I'd be like, "CJ, you're at 78 pitches, brother. You're about done, man. We've got to pull you out." And he was like ignoring me. Like, he was like, "No, this was CJ. I got this. CJ, you're 78 pitches, brother. Come on now." No, he's got this.
Well, he grew up watching Mike Maddox, Nolan Ryan, who went, Nolan Ryan would pitch an 18 inning, complete game.
You just hit it, Ben. Nolan Ryan never came off the mound. And so that was my mentality, was no.
Yep.
When I started the game, I'm finishing the game.
Yeah.
And coach knows that.
That's one thing I kind of miss about baseball these days, Coach, is that they don't really let guys. I mean, you don't see hardly but 10 or 12 complete games for an entire Major League Baseball season now.
No, that's changed. Philosophy's changed a lot about that. And I mean, especially too, CJ, when you're in high school, your parents up in the stands, "Boy, kill me, man. You throw 100 pitches, brother." And get injured.
My dad got kind of pissed off at you one night. Yeah.
CJ's dad would stand over there by the backstop right there by the side.
Yeah.
And you could tell he's not happy, right? But how do you argue with the son who doesn't want to be pulled off the mound because he's looking good for the girls and he's throwing a good curveball? So,
well, coaches, that's a tough job you have, especially if somebody's on. When they get to that point, you're like, I really need to pull him, but man, he's like throwing fire right now, and I don't want to pull him out of the game. Our baseball coach where I teach is always like, telling me it's just like, it's such a tough decision, because if you have a guy that struck out the last 6 of the last 7 guys, but he's at 80 pitches, what do you do? You're like, it's time to pull him out. But man, I actually saw a high school game one time that they were up 3-0 and they had to pull their starter. And the next pitcher they brought in hit the next 4 guys and walked in a run. Then they pulled him out, and that guy gave up a grand slam. And then they're down 7-4, like instantly. It's like, he's just like, man, that was the wrong decision.
Well, that was Coach Cano's problem, because then he'd come to the mound and tell me, "Hey, we're pulling you out," and I'm like, "No, you're
nope."
Not. No, you are not.
Yeah, I don't coach for a reason. I don't want to have to make those decisions.
Ben, again, man, you have the look of a general manager. You need to be a general manager.
I need to be the guy up in the top looking and making moves. You're right. I'm not the manager material. I don't want to do that.
So would you pick up CJ on a long-term contract if you were the general manager? And be honest.
Shit.
Oh, heck yeah. For this show, definitely. He's been with me now. I mean, we always joke that I did it by myself for like 2 years and it was terrible. And then CJ joined and it got really good. I just needed that steady pitcher to come in and start throwing heat instead of the softballs that I was chunking around before he got here.
I'm surprised. I thought you were going to say you're going to sign him to 1 year deal and see what happens after that.
Well, the first year, 1 year with a lifetime option, depending on how he does. Isn't the coach of Kentucky that has a lifetime contract for basketball? Yeah, John Calipari. Yeah,
John Calipari. Yep.
Not looking so good this year, but anyway.
It's funny you bring that up, Coach Canito, because he just put a thing on Twitter, and I was like, bro, we've worked together many, many, many times. So why don't we just do this, And so we did one episode and he was like, all right, thanks, and hopefully we have CJ on again. I'm like, no.
Yeah, CJ told me, no, I'm part of this now. And I was like, oh, okay. He basically told me what he told you. You're not pulling me off the mound. I'm part of this now.
Absolutely.
And that was,
so let me ask you,
2021.
For you.
Yeah.
2021. Let me ask you a question right now. Jump in. What's your favorite thing you're looking forward to with the Rangers right now?
Oh gosh, probably health. I mean, health, if they stay healthy, I'm looking forward to all of the pundits like in 2010 freaking out, not knowing players' names, trying to figure out why they're as good as they are, trying to figure out why they were so wrong. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than you knowing what's going to happen and nobody else. You know what I mean? Like, because I remember in 2010, they couldn't even say some of the players' names right when they were on national TV because they didn't know who any of them were. And, that guy, of course, this year it's a little different with the guys they picked up are already very well-known people, but just the shock that the national media will have when the Rangers are either in second or first place in the West is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely.
How about you, CJ?
You got DeGrom and I mean, they brought in a lot of pitchers. Odorizzi, they brought in.
Odorizzi's not even going to be in the rotation, which is crazy.
he's going to be a swingman.
Yeah.
And we talked about with Brad Sham, and he's like, I don't see him being in the rotation.
Yeah.
So Dane Dunning probably going to be in AAA.
Probably going to be in Round Rock. Same thing with Cole Reagans.
Yeah.
Yep. Unless Cole makes the bullpen. Cole can make the bullpen.
And Taylor, who he's one of our lovers. He's probably going to be in the bullpen. I think he's going to be in the bullpen. And we've had Robin Hearn on, Taylor's sister. And I've got a date with her, by the way.
You do, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, CJ is still bold. I'll give him that.
Just tell her old war stories and you'll win her heart.
There you go.
I've already been working on it, brother. So shit.
Does it? Oh, sorry, it's my dog. Does it concern either one of you guys that last year with our this new rotation, they missed almost over 350 starts last year?
They missed a lot of starts.
It does. Like that's my only thing keeping me from being super excited about it is the fact that, these guys have missed a lot of starts over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and John Gray, I mean, he missed a lot of starts last year. He missed a whole lot of starts.
But man, he was good when he was on.
Oh, he was on. When he was on, he was on.
Yeah.
But Coach Canito will know this phrase. The best ability is availability.
Right.
Yep.
And now I got to bring up me being quarterback of the Hereford Whitefaces.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, now football stories. This is getting good.
This is going to get good because the first person off the bus, we got off the bus. Was that in Lubbock?
Yes, it was Lubbock.
And you, first person that came in, you were like, dude, you're the quarterback of the Hereford Whitefaces, man. This is great. And I was like, I just want to eat. But Coach Canito was fired up about me becoming, quarterback of the Hereford Whitefaces. And by the way, I got to show him. Hang on.
Well, I got to tell you from experience, educators get more excited than students sometimes about student success.
Yeah, and I think, Ben, too, man, when you're a coach, man, you get really close, man, to your players, right?
Yeah, because you're with them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing I miss, now is not having that strong relationship with players like that. You know?
Yeah.
Even though it may get to their head a little bit, you get that close relationship with them.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tyler, Texas. East Texas. So, look, here he comes with the helmet.
Yeah, here he comes.
I grew up in East Texas, which is still where I live now. So,
yeah, what's the weather like over there, Ben?
It was 30 degrees this morning and 65 this afternoon. So typical Texas weather.
Well, it snowed over here.
We had winter and spring and summer in one day.
Do you remember this helmet?
I do, man. That's beautiful.
Did you steal it, CJ?
No, my parents bought it.
Oh, okay.
And it's got all my stickers and all that stuff on there.
Nice.
Yeah, Coach Canito remembers.
Yep. Yeah, I remember CJ running the boot, man. Yep, I remember that.
Oh, the bootlegs?
Yes.
It was 809 and 909.
Yeah, guy, you have a good memory, CJ.
I remember the plays.
All right, well, before we let him go, CJ, what else you got for Coach?
I got to show him signals. You ready,
See if he still remembers them?
Okay.
Yep. See if you can remember them. You ready? You ready,
okay,
Coach?
I'll see if I can remember.
All right.
Fastball.
Yep.
Curveball.
Yep.
Ooh,
man. Change up.
Yep.
There you go. Look at that. A coach never forgets, CJ. CJ told me off air he's going to test you and see if you still remember the calls, if you still remember the signals.
That's good, man. That's good.
All right, CJ, you ready to get out there and pitch again? Spring training starts in a month.
Oh, why not?
You better start warming up now.
Hey, I think CJ Ben is good for one curveball, and then we'll yank him.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah.
Okay. You okay. I got it. Before we end this, Coach Cano always talks about my curveball. Canito, talk about my curveball before we end.
The good, bad, and the ugly. Now, Ben, I'll tell you, when it was on, I mean, I'm telling you, the thing about CJ's curveball is coming out of his hand, it looked like a fastball, which is what it should be, right?
Yeah.
And so you didn't see it. I mean, literally, you throw it like a fastball. When it came out, that sucker just came out in the corner, man, and it was a beautiful thing, right? So when he got angry and he threw that thing, I mean, you just didn't see it. When he got lazy with it, when they hit a home run, it's because he changed the momentum, and that sucker would float. You know, in the movies where you'd like just slow motion, I could see it. I mean, it was literally like so slow motion, right? Yeah. Those batters would sit underneath it. But I will tell you, when CJ got mad and he threw it and you didn't see it coming, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
CJ's one of the very few pitchers that I knew of that could throw that curveball in a first pitch strike and really get ahead of the batter. And that's where I was always proud of him for that. Yeah. And I'll tell you, there's many times where, I mean, throw a fastball first pitch, he'd override it. He'd throw a curveball, and he was successful with it.
CJ being stubborn again.
Yeah, being very stubborn. Now, CJ, anything that I say that was not on par?
No, you're pretty accurate. Pretty damn accurate.
Well, Coach, we've really enjoyed having you on tonight, man. This has been great.
Yeah, Ben, I appreciate you guys, man. Anytime I can talk Rangers, man. Can I get a guarantee from you guys we're going to have an 80-plus season?
I think we can.
Yeah, I can safely say I'm predicting. I haven't done my official prediction yet, but it will be 80 or more. So, I think we're going to have an 80 or more.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
for sure.
Because, man, it's been, I mean, it's been a while, bro. What, 2016 maybe?
Yeah,
around
I think
there
16 was the last time. That was 16 that they had the best record in the American League, and then got knocked out by the Blue Jays, and that's the last time we've had a winning record.
God, I hate the Blue Jays, man.
I do too. Even without Bautista, I still hate the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, let's talk about that. I keep running on this.
Ben's gonna kick you out, CJ.
Well, he's already threatened to do that many times.
Yeah.
But Rugi Odor knocking Batista out. What do you think?
No, that's worth talking about.
What'd you think about that, Coach?
Yeah, that's one of those no comment kind of deals, man. That was not. Yeah, I don't know about that, CJ. That's not a good thing, brother.
Well, no, Batista tried to take him out.
I know, man. Come on, brother.
You can't be fighting. Although
okay. Now this is bringing up other shit. Remember
when you got whacked by the cheerleader? He threw the wrong pitch, and one of our cheerleaders whacked him across the side of the head. I do remember that. That's a joke. I'm just joking.
No, we were playing summer league, and Anthony Ramirez got into a fight with second baseman and beat the living shit out of him.
Yeah,
and that was shit. That was a terrible day because I was in the on deck circle, getting ready to go hit, and now I've got to run out there, and I ran out there with the bat and my helmet on and shit, and was like, all right, this is not right. No, what do I do here? And Andrew Ramirez was, you remember Andrew, was our assistant coach, and Johnny Dan was the head coach. And I mean, it just got nasty. And yeah, Anthony beat the crap out of that dude at the shortstop area. Beat the living crap out of that kid.
Yeah, I remember that day because I got a call. I was supposed to go to that game just to watch you guys, and I got a call and head over to the field. Most people were gone that day, and a parent gave me an update on what had happened. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's especially at the high school level. That's never good.
Yeah, no. That's never good.
I mean, it's not good at the pro level either, but it does happen, But
it wasn't good.
That day still lives in infamy, though, with Rugi.
Yeah, exactly right.
But Anthony didn't instigate that thing. It was the shortstop from who were playing? It was Lubbock Cooper. Lubbock. It was one of the Lubbock teams.
Yeah.
And no, the kid at shortstop was dicking with Anthony, and then he just went and clocked him. And so Anthony got up and just started beating the living crap out of him.
I'll tell you one thing: when you're in the middle of competing like that and something like that happens, it's hard not to react because you're already all amped up from playing the game and trying to win and being competitive. It's hard not to react when stuff like that happens. I know when I played, there was many times I wanted to get into fights that afterward I was like, boy, that was stupid. I'm glad I didn't throw a punch.
Yeah, man, I think that's what people don't understand who play sports, or especially even the competitive level, upper levels, that your emotions, that adrenaline takes over, right? Yep. And sometimes that wrong side of your brain, that fight or flight, you get in that fight mode.
Yep.
And then you're right. You look back and like, what the heck was I thinking? You think about Major League Baseball players who've gotten those moments, but it's blasted all over ESPN. Yeah. You got to be a little bit embarrassed that happens.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, Coach. Well, I think that's all we got for you. Appreciate your time tonight, sir.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We love you guys, man. I appreciate you guys. Go Rangers. I'm marking it down today. Y'all said 80+ wins.
All right, mark it down.
I'm going to bet on it in Vegas. Okay.
All right, Coach.
Okay. You're going to go bet on this?
Yes, I'm going to go bet on this. All right. Hey, but I appreciate you guys.
Hey, thank you so much, Coach. It was great. It was great meeting you. CJ, great catching up with you.
Coach, I love you, man.
Love you too, CJ. Y'all stay going hard. Y'all keep cheering on the Rangers for us, man.
We'll do it, man.
You keep listening.
Okay, I will.
Thanks, Coach.
Especially after this one. I'm sure you're going to be listening right there.
I will, man. All right. Y'all have a good evening, guys.
All right, you too. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook,
and at therangerreport.com.